Welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast, the horror movie podcast that boils and ghouls and dead alike are screaming for. Don't be afraid to listen as Rick and the Creeps bore their way into your brains, slither down onto your arteries, into your still beating hearts.
Hi, welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast. This is Rick, and this is the podcast that talks about scary movies or movies trying to be scary. Got one of the creeps in the house today. Morris is back.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
You and I today are going to be talking 2020's The Last Matinee. Before we jump into this, let's do a quick synopsis. An engineering student takes over the duties of her father, a projectionist at a declining movie theater. Unbeknownst to her, the audience watching the film are being murdered by a black-gloved killer. All right, man. So The Last Matinee. I think I recommended this one.
You did.
And neither you or I had seen this
No.
prior to us. Yeah. I remember seeing, I don't know, a trailer for this or something.
I think you sent me the trailer about, a year and a half ago?
Maybe. Has it been that long?
Yeah, I think it has.
Wow.
So, and then I saw the trailer. I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it was definitely on my radar, and it looked interesting. It looked to me, and of course, as we talk about it, we'll talk about that. But I felt it looked, it had a Giallo feel to it. It was made in Uruguay.
Yes,
Is that right?
That's correct.
And of course, it's subtitled, so it's in Spanish. But it watching the trailer, had never seen it. It just had that. It had that feel, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm down to checking it out. And
Right.
so yeah. What did you think? Like, again, full spoilers, everyone. I always forget to say that.
No, it's good. Full spoilers ahead.
Really fast. I know this is going to be totally dumb. And I was thinking about this. The matinee means a movie during the day.
That's correct.
And what I don't understand, this movie was at night.
Well,
so what's the last matinee mean? Is there like several?
No,
I know it's stupid, but
it's funny. A lot of people that, because after I watched the movie, I kind of wanted to see some other opinions about it.
Yeah.
And some of the other opinions out there in the internet land mentioned that too. Is it something that's just lost in translation? But the correct way to say, the last matinee, they're in Spanish, that, they do have matinee and as one of the words in the title. So when it translates to English, it is the last matinee. But a matinee, as you know, would be like the very last showing before noontime, I think.
Well, I don't know if it's really, I don't know if it's noon, but matinee always means a show or a film that is basically presented during the day.
During the day.
This is clearly at night. Like it is nighttime.
It's
and
very night.
Yeah. And it's storming, and
it should be like the last show.
The last show or something like that.
That's what it should have been called.
I mean, the title is cool title. And so I just had to bring it up because I was just curious if it was maybe a language thing where when it translates, or was it purposely supposed to be the last matinee and they just, I don't know, they just liked the name and they just ran with it. But
I'm thinking more of that,
it could be.
Maybe
this clearly takes place at night. Almost the entire film, except for maybe a few scenes, don't take place inside the actual like theater,
right?
Not the actual where the screen is, but you got the snack bar and all these other areas within, I would say, the building where the theater is housed.
Bathroom, hallway,
all of those things. There's a couple scenes that are like right outside the theater, but they're not really, except for one. One happens, killing happens outside of it, just barely outside.
Well, it's kind of like encompassed in one of those, areas where it has some other shops. It's almost like an inside Plaza Mall area, but it's very, very, very small. And I think more attributed to like other countries.
Now, it looked like a strip mall to me, right?
Right.
Like if we, what it reminded me of is if you're going to say, and I've never been to New York, but you're going to New York and you have all those buildings, like heck, if we went down to downtown Sacramento, right?
Oh yeah, they have those there.
All the buildings are so close to each other. Mm-hmm. And that's what this was like. It was literally like you would have, say, like a little place to eat, and then like, who knows, a craft place. And right in the middle is like this theater. I mean, it's tiny, and it has one of those pull down. What are those things? Like it's a
pull down door.
It's like, but those metal ones that are reminiscent in the.
It's almost like a garage door.
Yeah,
but it's like a big steel door that you would chain up.
But inside of this theater, man, I loved it. Dude.
Oh yeah, it was really cool.
It felt really cool, dude. Like just kind of older looking, but not older in the sense that it was older, but it still seemed modern. Like it kept the old feel, but it was done really, except for maybe the area where the projection was.
Right, that looked pretty old and dated.
Looked pretty old and dated, but everything else looked pretty cool.
And I think the aesthetic of the whole movie, being that at the beginning of this movie or after the credits roll, it's telling you that it's supposed to be in 1993.
So we know it's supposed to be 93, but honestly, I didn't know it was 93 until I read additional stuff afterwards. Did it say 93?
Yeah.
Where did it say that?
Right after it presented the director.
Yeah.
And right after the guy pulls up to the front of the killer pulls up to the front of the it
said 93.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And it had the town on there too.
Oh, okay.
Which was Montevideo or whatever it was.
I think that was close to that. Yeah. Because I think on when the killer pulls up, I think it shows his license plate, and I think it said something like Montevideo or Video, or I don't know how you pronounce it, but I wonder if that's a little town, or is that maybe a fictitious?
I have nothing I looked up, so I don't know. Yeah.
So let's run through the characters, at least the ones that I think are probably the most important, and I hope I don't butcher any of these names. I think most of them are pretty simple. Angela, Anna, Tomas, Esteban. So Angela, Esteban, and is it Goni?
Maybe Goni.
They're a group of three friends.
Yeah, like three.
And they were waiting for someone, and that person never showed up.
I think it was supposed to be Angela's date, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Anna's,
and he kind of like stood her up.
Okay. So Anna's the daughter, and she is basically filling in for her father. He's the projectionist, and he works at the theater.
And we get like kind of a rundown that maybe he is, because he smokes, behind the scenes. He doesn't, he doesn't let his family know, but he does hide cigarettes that, and he's overweight. He's older. Yeah. That maybe he passed out, working late, working long hours.
Could be.
Well, we get that kind of rundown. They don't clearly say a ton about it, but that's what, and she's like, Papa, you need to go home. You know, you're coughing, it's late, it's raining. So I got to study. She has like this big exam that she's going to do. So she sends him home, gets a taxi for him. And then she's left there with, what is it? Mauricio.
Yeah. And I don't know. He's kind of like a, usher / security person, I guess.
/ maybe assistant manager.
Yeah. Something like that. Let's see. Eventually we're going to see Horatio and Gabriella. That's the couple in this. Yeah. Gabriella seems way out of his league, and she just seems like a bitch.
So it seems like he met her at a bar, and he asked her out on a date, and he clearly wasn't reading the signs to bring her to a movie that he's never seen or knows anything about. And their date seems very awkward.
It does seem awkward.
And she's looks like she's DTF, man. She looks like she's ready to to mess around.
Yeah,
She's like, let's, hey, what are you bringing me here for?
Yeah.
She thought she was gonna make out or something during the movie, and that's clearly he just seems very nervous and kind of out of his league.
He does. And then I guess there's an older man. I don't know if we even get his name, but there's an old man in the theater.
Oh, there's two old men. So
the
there's
one leaves, right?
The one, he almost seems like he's kind of bitchy, maybe partially homeless, maybe. But he doesn't seem dirty. He just seems really irritable. And then there's another older man with clean shaven that he's just very quiet and he's just watching the
And
movie.
I don't think we get any dialogue from him.
No.
And then we get the Tomas is the little kid who sneaks into the. Dude, it's funny, man. I kept seeing this kid and thinking like this was you. Like I could see you doing this. Like
I actually have.
You have, right?
Yeah. When I was like anywhere
his
from
age.
like 8 to about 10, I used to sneak into scary movies.
And
Yeah.
I figured that was the case. I'm like, oh, this is totally Morris back in the day. To see this movie. And Ricardo, I guess, is the killer. I don't remember his name ever. He's supposedly his name is Ricardo. I just don't remember a name coming up because he doesn't really say anything. Maybe he says something later on.
And they don't really show him other than maybe his nose and mouth at the beginning of the movie. So it's kind of hidden, which I appreciate that aesthetic.
I would rather have that.
Yeah.
I almost, as I was watching this, I almost would have rather had zero dialogue from him and never where we saw his face. It's just, it maintains that kind of mystery of who this is and why he's doing because it's never explained. He's just crazy.
Did you not get high tension vibes from him?
I did get high tensions because of the dirtiness of him.
The dirtiness of him.
Absolutely.
And then they showed his like nose and mouth, but they never showed his eyes because he had his hat pulled down.
I did.
And then this guy, Ricardo, which is the name of the actor. We're calling him Ricardo because in the movie, I think he was just the killer. But he had a hoodie on, right? Yeah.
He did. It almost, it almost looked like a something you would wear if you were like a fisherman or something,
right.
Those
like a slicker.
Thank you. So it kind of reminded me of half of like, say, I Know What You Did Last Summer and then High Tension.
Yeah.
Kind of a mixture.
Of those two.
But the grossness and the dirtiness of them totally reminded me of High Tension.
Oh yeah. Cause he pulled up and he was like grabbing into a huge pickle jar and he was eating like pickled, green olives.
It looked like olives, right? But see, as the movie played along, I almost thought, was it really an olive? Could it have been one of the eyes? Because folks, what he does is when he kills everyone, he removes their eyes and he sticks it in a jar.
Well, the funny thing is, I think because he was just fucking crazy, I think that was the last olive in the jar. And then maybe in his crazy brain, if you're like trying to pick his brain, let's pick the killer's brain, that he's reaching in it. He's like, I need to fill this jar full up with more stuff. I don't have any more olives. I think I'll use eyeballs.
Eyeballs. Yeah. I mean, I guess what I did like about this is we don't know why he's doing what he's doing. He's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
He's just crazy. I don't know if this is a thing that he does. Did he just decide to pick a theater because it was late at night and it wasn't going to be crowded? And I don't know.
I think
like what set him off?
I think that's what it was. I think what you're saying is what it was. But a funny meta thing, and I know you know this too, is that the killer is the killer that's the actor of the killer was the director of the movie they were watching, which was Frankenstein Day of the Beast.
Something like that.
And it came out, the funny thing is supposed to be 1993, but this movie came out in 2011.
The movie that they're watching inside of the movie came out in 2011. Yeah.
Which I would have hoped that they would have picked a different movie if they're trying to be meta about it. But maybe he's like, okay, I'm crazy enough to make this movie, and now some place that's showing my shitty movie, I'm going to go kill them all.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe it's just a weird little inside funny thing.
It could be, man. I mean, but so that's kind of the characters. We
have the ticket lady.
The ticket lady.
Lady.
I don't remember her name. No. I think she left not too long after I think the the movie was getting ready to start, the
Right.
next movie, because the previous movie, whatever played, everyone left except for Tomas was there, the little boy, and then that one older man who he's like, I'm just staying.
Yeah.
And he argued with Mauricio, and Mauricio was like, I'm not going to deal with this, and he just left. And then the other crowd rolls in, which is Horatio and Gabriella. And then the three friends.
So the three friends, you roll to say Jonah Hill, young Jodie Foster, and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. And then it kind of looked like that. They sat on the top of the top of, I guess, where the balcony is, right?
Yeah.
And then Horatio and Gabriella sat. Now, if you're looking at the screen, it'd be to the far right, kind of down below. There's an older man. He's way off to the left. And then the one girl, I forgot her name. They called her Brooke Shields. They kept referring to her as Brooke Shields.
Because the one friend saw her on the bus, and then she just so happened to like pop into the movie theater, and he was like, I got to make my move.
Yeah, this is a sign.
This is a sign.
And I guess she got stood up. And this was funny, man. He gets the nerve to go down and talk to her, and I mean, he's charming the pants off of her, right? And then like a couple seconds later, they're kissing. I'm like, damn.
I know. I'm like, shit. I'm when I was young, I could have.
Oh, hell.
I should have just used that tactic.
Jesus, man.
But it's kind of funny. Okay, so let me go back to the beginning where the killer gets to the movie theater.
Yeah. And he's got a bag. He's got a red duffel bag with him.
And they're setting up to play this movie before all our characters get into the movie theater. So he's walking in. There's a little boy leaving the last showing.
Yes.
And he had all these gumballs. The gumballs drop, and it's very artistic, the way that they're falling in slow motion. The mom's waiting for the kid at the bottom of the stairs. Kid starts picking up the gumballs and putting them back in his bag. Well, the killer, presents his hand. The next thing you see is his hand with the red gumball in his hand, which kind of foreshadows what's going to happen.
For sure.
And, did the kid grab the gumball?
He did. He was very reluctant.
Yeah.
But he eventually grabbed it. He didn't say thank you or anything.
No, he just fucking took off.
He took off. Yeah. And what I loved about this movie is it felt to me, okay, so if you took like an American slasher and then you took the Italian Giallo and you kind of morphed them a bit.
Right.
I know you and I chatted a little bit. I think you felt this was more of a slasher than a Giallo.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I would say it's more like a 70 slasher, like a 70% slasher and 30% Giallo, but the Giallo stuff was very Giallo.
Yeah,
like this style, it was very stylized. The movie itself, it was super colorful, which is very reminiscent of Giallo.
Right.
A lot of vibrant colors.
And that's where it stops.
And then the black gloves.
The black gloves, and that's where it stops. Because the Giallo is more of a police procedural. There's always
some investigation.
And there's an investigation going on. There's always a whodunit. Sometimes the killer is somebody that they know.
Yeah.
And sometimes not. But it's always a whodunit. There's a lot of like there is slashing in a Giallo, but it's got more of a story going on. This is just, killer shows up at a movie theater. We're going to present some characters. He's going to kill them all, and the survivors are going to fight for their life, which is totally a slasher.
So then really, okay, then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's more like 90% slasher and 10% like 10% Giallo, with more so paying homage to the Giallo.
Oh, absolutely.
But the music.
Oh, the music is total.
Oh my God, the music's totally like the lot of synth type stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it had like a Claudio Fragazzi thing all over it. Which is he's the guy that does Goblin. So,
Goblin. Yeah. No, it did.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of good things going for this film.
Yeah.
I will say this. There's not a lot of character development. There's not a lot of depth really to the movie itself, right?
No.
There's no backstory here. This is literally a guy comes in, he wants to kill everybody.
Like a slice of life slasher.
Yeah. And so so what I would say is like, if you love the slasher genre, then you're going to dig this movie. And you like a little bit of the Giallo, you're going to like this. If you're not into that, I think you might be a little, I'm not going to say bored with it. It just might not be your cup of tea.
Also, if you don't like like a lot of Lucio Fulci's like eye trauma stuff.
God,
yeah,
yeah.
this is definitely eye trauma.
So, dude, I normally don't like that. I
Yeah.
didn't have so much of a problem with it, and I don't know why. It was
Mhm.
just maybe the way it was presented to me.
It was
It wasn't like so over the top, because we know, as some of like some of the Giallos or just in general the Italian horror, they can go extreme
yeah.
with their stuff.
I think this had more of a playful feel
It did.
of the gore, where it didn't take itself too seriously. So I don't think there's gore, but
Yeah,
at
there
the
is
same
definitely.
time, it was more playful gore, like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie or a Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It wasn't something where you're like turning your eyes away because you're like, oh fuck, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't.
It's not
it
like
wasn't
August
that bad.
Underground,
Yeah.
shit that looks too real,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's done well. It's just, he's using a damn ice cream scooper to scoop out their eyes. Like that would ever work.
I know.
That would never work. I mean, you would really have to have some fucking strength to get that scooper right into that socket.
The thing is, and again, we always say this, and I always hate to say this.
Yeah.
We need to come up, but the fact that we have to suspend belief.
You have to.
So the idea of this, I'm trying to paint the picture to the audience who's never seen this. This is a fairly big size theater, an older theater, but there's no one in here. There's literally maybe 8 people.
Which bothered me when people were like walking in and they're stumbling because it's too dark. It's like, come on, there's stuff going on the screen and there's lights on the stairs. It's like,
well, not to mention every time he goes to kill someone, you're telling me that you don't see him killing anyone,
right?
Because the 3 friends are on the balcony. Okay, I've sat in balconies and I can tell you I can see everything.
Yes,
and I notice everything. So if I see someone walking up, how am I going to? I guess the more so my statement would be, how am I not going to see this guy come up, kill this guy, then take his eyeballs out with a ice cream scooper?
Right.
I'm going to see all of these things.
All these things, yeah.
Yeah, because and as we know, as we watch a movie, even if it's a scary movie and there's a lot of sound going on, right? There are moments in the movie where it's quiet.
Right.
And it's like, you didn't see any of this. So again,
he did kill when killing was happening on the screen.
Okay, but still,
right?
I mean,
but I mean,
if the theater is full,
right?
Okay, maybe I can.
Right.
Come on, but again, you just have to go with it.
You have to suspend belief.
You have to suspend it, and we do that. We do that with most horror movies,
you
right?
To.
You really have to, and so we're just accustomed to that. But I have to say it because it doesn't mean that I don't think about stuff like that, and it doesn't irritate me a little bit, because I am who I am, and I'm gonna say something, and so, but so. The first kill, Mauricio.
Yeah.
And this guy was was he hitting on Anna, or was it just, hey, I've been here, I know you're just filling for your dad.
I think it's a little of both.
A little bit of both, but he was awkward and didn't know how to do it.
And she had like an exam that she needed to study for that she was going to have in 3 days.
And she's probably in college, right? She's in college, yeah.
And so it was important to her, and she didn't want to like sit and chit chat. She was in the middle of, she's in the projection room, and he just comes in there and, he's asking for the cigarettes, which was kind of like a slap to her dad, because
I think he did it on purpose.
Oh, he totally did
Absolutely.
that on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like, get me a cigarette. And she's like, I don't smoke. And he's like, no, in the drawer where your dad keeps cigarettes.
Yeah.
And then there was like different brands. And then he's like, no, I want the casinos.
The casinos. Is that a brand?
All those brands looked really
European. We should have looked that up.
South American.
I bet you it is probably a brand in maybe where this is at.
Yeah.
Some sort of Uruguay or wherever. Maybe it's
but yeah, he's doing that shit to her. And could he not have just walked over and grabbed it himself? But
he could have. He wanted to rat out. Yeah.
He wanted to rat out her dad. And then he's like, I think it's almost like, like a brother sister thing. Mom, he's poking me. He just wanted to like poke her, he just wanted to like mess with her, because he knew that she was in the middle of studying, and he knows that he's not going to be able to date her. So there's part of it. He's like attracted to her. And then I think the other part is like, he's just fucking with her.
Yeah. And I get the impression he's kind of a dick anyways.
Yeah. He seems like he's a dick.
And so he goes down, he leaves, she locks up the door and he goes,
oh yeah, she's pointing to the door. She's like,
just get out.
Just
already.
get the fuck out. Yeah.
And so he goes down stairs. He says goodbye to the other lady that was working the box office. And then he grabs some candy. And I think he's eating some candy. And then he goes out to smoke.
And right at the edge of where the street starts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pull down that metal door. And, it's funny when you were just talking about that little strip mall area.
Yeah.
I think of like Placerville. You know how you walk through and there's a whole bunch of shops inside.
Yeah.
And then you can close off and pull the door down.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that. Or like on the, Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk.
Yeah.
The boardwalk's like that too.
Yeah.
There's like little shops that kind of veer off from the main boardwalk that you go in, and it's kind of like that. So that's kind of like what this movie theater is. It has
with you saying that,
mm-hmm.
and I know it's later at night, but there's still foot traffic because this is a sidewalk.
Right.
And when Mauricio went out to smoke, and I'll tell you, I have to say, this was a pretty good kill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that we've never seen this before,
right?
But he takes a long drag of the cigarette, and when he's getting ready to kind of blow it out, right, this is when the killer cuts his neck
and slits his throat,
and it's kind of in slow motion, right? And then the smoke comes out, and I was like, okay,
it's bellowing out of the wound, and then it's like it's clouding.
It's cool kill and stylistic, as I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
At the same time, but then it's like, so no one else is walking on the sidewalk to.
I know,
but that's fine.
Suspend
belief, and then so he pulls him in and basically lays him down. He's dead. But then he pulls this, that
metal door,
the metal door down, and then he breaks it off.
He snaps the
is it like
chain.
A tool or something?
Yeah, it's a chain that pulls the door.
Okay,
but he breaks it off, and then now it's like a stabby tool.
Yeah, it's like a bar, like rebar.
Yeah, it's like a rebar. Yeah, and it's very long.
He makes a point to touch the tip of it,
it's
and you're like,
sharp.
Shit, someone's getting this,
and it's probably like what 2-3 feet long.
Oh, dude, this thing had to have been, I would say almost 4 feet long. It felt like it was about 4 feet long, but maybe 3 to 4.
Yeah.
And so when the Brooke Shields quote unquote girl is
shows
making out with, and again, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Ghani. I don't know
either. But the funny thing is like, we're saying, one girl looks like young Jodie Foster from Silence of the Lambs. The other guy looks like Jonah Hill from freaking the 40-year-old virgin, because he had the glasses.
He
and
had the glasses really chubby, and he had the curly hair,
and then the other kid looked like a long-haired with a knitted cap, Andrew Garfield.
But
the Brooke Shields didn't look like Brooke Shields.
It didn't look like Brooke Shields at all, man. But they're making out, and then the killer puts that bar right.
He's right behind him, and they don't notice he's gonna.
Yes, no, they don't notice him at all. He's literally right behind them, and he takes the bar and again, man, this is another cool kill. I think he goes through her head first, and then it goes through because they're kissing. And so they're connected, and it goes through, their mouths and goes to the other side of his head.
Yeah.
And then just leaves it there. So it appears that
they're still kissing.
They're still like, yeah.
And they're like shish kebabbed.
Shish kebabbed. Yeah. And so the friend, Angela, keeps kind of looking down, she watches the movie, looks down, and it feels like it's a little strange. It's like they haven't moved in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And she finds that a bit strange. And I know that I think he's already killed. Wasn't the old man the first to die?
The old clean-shaven man was the first to die. Yeah.
Okay, so he's dead. He's dead. He's just chilling there, though.
Yeah, they think maybe he fell asleep.
And did he have a hood or a hat? Because I think the killer either put if he was wearing like a sweatshirt, the old man was,
right.
He pulled it over his head, or he put a hat just so it didn't show his eyes.
Right.
And then I'm trying to remember, man. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I know we're getting some stuff with Horatio and Gabriella, some dialogue and event. And again, I don't remember in the scope of the film when this happened, but let's just say he had a happy ending, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
she's she's completely bored.
Bored, and she makes up some excuse that she has a party for her aunt to go to.
She's like, oh, I totally forgot I have to go to this party for my aunt. Yeah, that's it. And I can understand her boredom because she's just sitting at this movie.
But she's kind of bitchy too.
She's kind of bitchy, but I mean, you have to. I mean, this guy seems like a nice guy, but he seems very awkward, and he's not talking to her. So she's like sitting. I mean, you got to kind of, see her point of it. It's like,
I guess so.
She's sitting here and she's like, okay, well, we're not making out. We're not doing stuff. He didn't take me to dinner. He bought some popcorn. I know. And I'm watching this shitty movie. It's like, and he's not talking to me. So this fucking sucks. So it's like, yeah, I think I got my aunt's party to go to. And then she's like, fuck it. I'm just going to jerk this guy off. Yeah. So that's what she's.
Yeah. And so he has to go clean himself up. He goes to the bathroom, but I don't know. I know at one point, I think the killer went up to the projection area and tried to get in, but of course, Anna had the door locked. So,
and I think she probably thought it was probably Mauricio.
I think she did.
Yeah.
I think she did think it was Mauricio. And so, and I'm trying. Is Horatio the next death, man?
Oh yeah,
inside the bathroom where because he comes across Tomas, because Tomas, I don't know.
He peed himself.
Tomas did?
Yeah,
because he was so scared.
He was so scared during a part of the movie.
Okay, I knew he had the chocolate on the side of his mouth that was bothering me, like on his cheek.
Yeah,
I was like, I wanted someone just to clean it off because it was annoying the hell out of me. But I know they run into each other
because they're both cleaning their crotches. Poor guys. When one from one thing
and then the other one from the other.
Peeing,
yeah. And so and then doesn't Horatio go into the stall?
Yeah.
And he's standing on does he still feel embarrassed? Because I mean, obviously he's got water, and then he sees the blood on the side of his he sees like red on the side of his pants.
Oh, because he slipped right on the newspaper.
And then because I remember the killer had wiped his knife on the newspaper and threw it on the ground.
Right.
So when Horatio slipped and fell, he didn't know that it had blood on it, so he had it on the side of his pants.
So was it Anna
said something to him?
It's like, hey, you got some stuff on you.
But he thought
he thought it was like and he's like, oh, I'm embarrassed, because he thought it was from the front.
Yeah.
She was talking about from his back
from
pocket.
The side. And it clearly looks like blood or something.
Does, totally.
And he doesn't catch on to it until after he's cleaned himself, and then he sees it, and then he hears someone's coming into the bathroom. He goes into the stall and he stands on the stall. And that stall was over. It looks like someone clogged it up. It was flooded everywhere.
Yeah.
And this is where the killer's in the stall next to him, grabs him.
Yeah.
Does he hit him or like slam him against the wall or something?
Right. And then,
I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Like I just watched this thing last night, man. I can't remember.
But then that's when he proceeds to like kind of beat him down and kind of knocks him out.
Well, he knocks him out. I think he slams him, and then doesn't he slam his head against the He slams his head against the floor, breaks his teeth. Like he's spitting teeth out. Does he cut his neck as well?
Yeah.
Or does he just stab him?
He stabs him.
He just stabs him.
Yeah. And then, we don't see him again, and then we assume that he takes the eyes because that's what he's been doing.
That's what he does. He's he's taking the eyes.
Yeah.
And then
the next one would be
the date. Is that the date, Gabriella? Because he just stabs her. Like
he just walks down. You see him walking close, and she thinks it's him walking back to the seat. Yeah. And then he's like standing over, and then she kind of she glances up, and she's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And that's when this kill really didn't. It was okay because he stabbed her, and then blood's coming out of her mouth, and then we don't see what he does with her. Obviously he takes her eyes because we see her later with no eyes.
Yeah.
It's basically like a pop out, kill with everybody that Anna finds later. Everybody has like no eyes.
No eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we know that Angela, she already feels like, okay, something's going on here. She goes down from the balcony to go see, and then she sees the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sees that they're dead, and then freaks out, and then
she goes back up to her friend, right?
to let him know.
Yeah, and then he, of course, like falls.
He's like a
and
idiot, man.
And this is Esteban.
Yeah,
like he falls, and then the killer gets him, and
he falls because he's like this, and this kind of irritated me. It's like it's a dark theater, but again, you have to suspend belief. It's a dark theater, but he falls. It's like, oh, I fell. It's so dark in here. I can't see where I'm going. It's like, get your ass up and fucking move. If you and believe your friend. If your friend's saying that,
we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. Yeah. Then don't second guess it. I've seen enough horror movies to know, like, someone's like, hey, that fucker's dead over there. Let's move. It's like, are you sure that they're dead? Well, and you're just kind of like wandering back. It's like, well, maybe we should call for some help. No, you get the fuck out. You just take your 2 legs and run really fast out the door. You don't fuck around.
Yeah, I always thought if I did that, I'd run so fast I'd leave everyone behind me, and I'm like,
I wouldn't care. I'm like,
maybe I'd feel bad afterwards. Like, oh, I left them.
See you when I see you. Later.
There's like the smoke behind me because I'm like, I'm booking out.
Every man for himself.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Halloween, the one where it takes place after the first Halloween.
Yeah.
And where the kid, there was someone in his room, the babysitter goes in and then he books, dude, and he is out. He's like,
oh yeah, Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
The little kid that's being babysat.
Yeah. And he's not even messing around.
No,
he's like, dude, I am gone.
He's like,
and he bolts.
I love you, but bye-bye.
Yeah.
And he survived.
Because, man. So that's,
because he didn't know, but I mean, Michael Myers isn't going to like fully book after him, and he's like, I'm gonna run as fast as I can.
Yeah, dude. And so I think that would be me, especially as a kid. I'm not messing around. But yeah, so Esteban gets, dude, he gets stabbed. I mean, stabbed and stabbed and stabbed. I mean, the killer's not messing around.
And this is where Angela and Anna see each other for the first time, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think
and then Tomas is still hiding in the theater. He came back from the bathroom.
He is. He's ducked down. He's kind of creeping around the theater.
And they don't know he's there.
No, they don't. Yeah. Now, Anna takes that she takes the kind of the rope in those old theaters. It had those little I forget what they're called, but it's like a rope that goes on like a pole.
Oh, where you're roping off an area.
Yeah, you're roping off, and she grabs it, and it was smart, and she basically wraps it around the door and locks it so that the killer can't get out.
Oh, but before that, they hit him a few times with the fire hydrant.
Oh, the fire hydrant.
Yeah, to knock him down.
Oh, the fire extinguisher. I'm sorry.
Fire extinguisher. Did they?
Well, I thought didn't Angela shoot him with the fire extinguisher at first?
At first,
and then they used it to beat him up a bit,
right?
And then shit,
was that the point where they messed up his eye? Shit, now I can't remember.
I know
I've seen this thing like twice in the past like
isn't it terrible?
2.5 weeks.
No, so what happened was. Angela was impatient. She breaks the glass on the box office, and then Anna grabs the big piece of glass, and that's what she uses to stab him in the eye.
Which Anna took. I was thinking to myself, why? Angela's like, "Come on, let's get let's get it moving," And
but didn't they hear Tomas in the theater?
Right. Yeah.
So that's what prompted them to go back in to get him.
Oh shit, the little kid's in there.
Yeah, and so that's when they stab him, and this is. And again, man, this is the thing. It's like you and I have seen so many movies. We know the killer is never dead.
Right.
He drops his knife. Right. I don't know. I mean, I stab the shit out of him.
Right.
I don't know. Take the fire extinguisher and beat his damn head in.
Every time Lisa and I watch a movie, she's like, just finish the job.
Just finish it.
Don't like walk away. Don't hit him once and it all started with Halloween with Laurie, and then dropping the knife and then move into another room.
It's a total trope, man.
But that's you wouldn't have a movie if he didn't do that.
Exactly. The movies would be a lot
shorter,
right? And so they leave, and then we know that there's a scene with him. And he's basically lost his eye, right? His eye is hanging, and so he decides
he pulls it out,
and then he cuts it.
He cuts it and then screams, and then doesn't he pop it in his mouth?
So
or is that later?
That's later. So when they they lock themselves. So they get up to the projection area.
That's right. And it's the three of
them.
them.
They call the police, right? And then they lock the door.
He's banging on the door.
And he gets in.
Yeah.
This, I will say, man, I giggled a little bit because I thought it was a cool little scene where he comes in, he has the jar, and he puts it on the thing, and then he opens up his mouth and he's got an eyeball in his mouth, right?
Which we're to assume is his own, right?
Maybe. And then he opens it up to show them, and then he gives them a little wink. And dude, I didn't like laugh hard, but I was like, all right, I'm digging this.
Right.
Like, this is a cool scene.
Right.
And then he puts the jar down and he's going to come after them. But he kind of, I don't remember if he had any dialogue here. But Tomas, now this is what we're talking about running. Tomas was like, because I think Angela pushed these film canisters towards him, and he seemed kind of preoccupied. Tomas goes underneath his leg and bolts.
Yeah, he's like, later.
And then Anna goes after him, and then Angela's kind of left. Like, they kind of left her inside of this room.
And she's like, fuck.
And so she goes into another room, but she can't get away from him. She starts going up like these stairs.
To go to the roof.
Yeah, to go to the roof, and he grabs her, brings her down.
And then he takes her back into the projection room.
And just, he
opens up the
door, like to the old projection, like a metal door.
Oh no, it's
is that the one?
It's the one that's playing on the screen. So it is the projector.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he's like slamming it on her head.
And then the blood is, of course, it's splattering all over to where if you're looking at the big screen, you're seeing is kind of red and
blood dripping.
Yeah. And so
a red dripping.
That was kind of messed up. I kind of felt like they kind of bailed on her.
They did.
Because to me, I'm thinking, okay, now I never know what I'm gonna do in a situation like that. I could have been Tomas, and I could have been Anna, and I could have just left. But I'm thinking, okay, those film canisters are heavy.
Yeah.
Could we have, I don't know, maybe hit them?
Right. The two girls.
Something. I mean, a chair, something, man.
So there's another movie we'll talk about at a later episode. But yeah, I mean, I think the two girls could have taken this guy if they worked together.
Yeah.
Or at least with the film canisters, they could have used them as, and we always say coulda, woulda, shoulda.
I know.
But, they could have used it as like a shield, or like threw a whole bunch on him and then like bum rushed out the door all together. But now the two saw their opportunity to leave.
They left her.
And Angela's like, fuck, what the hell am I going to do?
You assholes. So now Angela's dead, and we got the
just the two.
Yeah, Tomas, because Anna goes after Tomas, finds him in some area of this theater, but it doesn't look like it just looks like almost like a warehouse-ish area.
Oh, it's like a back room area.
Back room.
Yeah.
And so she finds him there. I'm trying to remember what happens at this point.
I know, because they work themselves back out into the
main lobby
area at the top of the stairs.
This I think is where they're coming down the stairs.
Right.
And they're being very kind of cautious. And he comes out from where the bathroom is and stabs Anna, like cuts her back, right? Yeah. And then but I think now this is important. I think now we have to remember she had gone back in the theater and grabbed the bar out of
the two heads.
Out of the two heads, which was the Brooke Shields looking, and then whatever's
Andrew
name,
Garfield.
Yeah, that kid. And it's smart because she's going to use it as a weapon. And I'll be honest, man, I probably would have did the same thing.
Right.
I have to find something that I can use to protect us. And so he stabs her in the back as they're coming down the stairs. And then he goes towards Tomas and to get Tomas. And then he's taking a sweet ass time with Tomas. I noticed it's like this build up,
like he's taunting him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to kill you. I'm taking my time. And then
is it a song? You just made that up?
I did. I think it's going to #1 next week. Anyway, no, but then we don't see her, but she leaps from behind him, at that camera angle where she has the rebar thing, and then she pokes it through his chest.
Through his chest,
through the back, out his chest.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, coughing up blood.
Oh yeah. And it's where he's kind of like on his knees, right? Like he's not falling over.
Yeah. Where he's like propped up.
Yeah, he's kind of propped up on his knees, and then he drops his. Is this when his jar of eyeballs drops? Which again, like you were talking about earlier in the film,
they look like the gumballs.
The gumballs, and they're just kind of bouncing down the stairs
like the gumballs were.
Yeah, and then I mean they come down, and then I think the police come through.
Yeah.
They finally break through the door. They finally get there. It's like you took your sweet ass time getting there.
The funny thing is the old home, I want to call him the homeless man, was out there, and
he's like, oh, I dodged a bullet here.
Totally
I'm glad I stormed out and got pissed off.
Which was weird, going back to when Mauricio was asking him, like, sir, the movie's over, and he's like, I've seen this movie before. He kept saying, I don't know if it was a weird translation that, we were seeing on screen.
Maybe.
But he's like, no, I've seen this movie before. And it's like, yeah, you saw that movie.
Now get the hell out.
Yeah, now it's time to go
buy a new ticket or something,
But that's what,
Yeah. But then, and I thought this was kind of interesting. It's like where she's trying to clean Tomas's face, but he's got blood all over him, and it's just not working.
Right.
Like, oh, let me clean you off. And it's like, no, nothing's coming off. It's like, it's almost like it's stained on him or something.
That's the end.
That's the end.
And no last killer jump scare or none of that
I thought
shit.
we were going to get that. I thought we were, when the police came in, like I thought maybe he would make his way down the stairs and then they would shoot him. But then I'm like, no, I think, with the eye and then the fact that it went through him, I'm thinking, no, he's probably dead.
And if they wanted to make this like they could have showed him like, they could have showed the rebar thing laying there because they didn't see him. They were around the corner. And maybe he's like exiting the fucking stairs that go to the roof,
Sure, possible, I guess. I mean, anything's possible.
But they didn't do that.
I never felt watching this that he was like a Jason, right? Where he or a Michael, where he's just he's almost like almost non-human anymore. Right. Like no matter what you do, nothing happens to him, which is just stupid. First of all,
or even super overpowering.
Yes, I never got that impression because when they were beating him with the extinguisher, dude, they were whooping his ass. So I never felt like he was superhuman or again something like that. So I'm kind of glad it ended the way it did. And as a whole, like this isn't a bad movie. It's not like some of the stuff we pointed out earlier. It's very stylistic. It's very colorful. It's some great music. When you have subtitles, it's hard to distinguish if the acting is good or not.
Right.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I felt it was okay.
Yeah, I did too.
I felt it was okay. And I think if you like the slasher genre and you're a bit of a fan of the Giallo, I think you're going to like this movie.
I think so too.
I don't think you're going to love this movie. I didn't love it, but
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a movie I'd ever watch again or own.
Yeah.
But that's not saying a lot these days because I rarely rewatch a lot of movies and I don't buy any movies anymore.
And knowing me, I'm more tolerant of that kind of stuff.
You are.
And the thing is, I felt the same way about, this is definitely more gory, but I felt the same way watching this movie as I did when we saw Hellfest.
Oh yeah.
And I enjoyed that movie, but I didn't love it. But I ended up buying it because it was so cheap on Amazon one day. I'm like, why not? If I ever want to watch it again, I can always watch it again.
And I remember seeing Hellfest was decent. I think The Haunt was better.
Yeah. Way better,
right? Yeah. And so I know you, and I'm thinking if you're ever at like say a Best Buy or something and it's out and it's on sale, I could easily see you buying this thing.
Yeah, if it's like $10 or less, I could definitely see myself buying this. So yeah, it's one of those.
And it's and like I said, I would definitely recommend it to someone, more so someone that is definitely in the slasher genre. I think they would like it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think you're going to love this movie, but I think you're going to like it. It's a solid watch. Like I've seen far worse, and you have definitely seen far worse. So
I've seen some shit.
You've seen some, and so that's the Last Matinee as a whole, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't have any more to say about it.
I don't think so, man. I think we hit on just about everything.
Yeah.
I thought I thought the filming of it, just the way it looked was really, I loved it, man. And I loved the
It was
the pop
stylized.
of color. I really enjoy, and the music, like I said earlier, the music was phenomenal in this.
And even though it's supposed to take place in 93, I almost want to say it's a little timeless. You know,
Yeah.
it's not
I think
anything
so.
really dates it.
I never felt it was 93.
Yeah.
I don't even remember seeing it was 93. You said it was at the
Mhm.
beginning. I never felt it was 93 at
Yeah.
all. They never brought out a cell phone or anything like that. That usually is a tell that something
Yeah.
is either older or newer, because you can tell by a phone.
And then plus with the, with a different country, there's always things that are lost in modernized translation, like some places tend to be a little bit more, slower
Yeah.
in the way that they progress with,
For sure.
with technology.
True.
And this very easily could have been, 2018. This could have very easily been 2000. This could have very
Mhm.
easily been 1993, like it was,
Yeah.
because there wasn't any cars that really dated.
No,
because
none.
when you always go back, it didn't show like a ton of cars.
And clothes, like,
Yeah.
again, another tell. You could, it's like you could tell by clothes what
Yeah.
people wear. I never felt the clothes didn't seem dated or they didn't seem new. It just seemed kind of neutral to me.
Neutral.
Yeah.
I go with that.
And so, yeah. But yeah, that's the Last Matinee, folks.
Yep.
Check it out. Let us, send us a message. Let us know what you think. Anything else, man?
Nothing else I can think of.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming out, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Everyone, thanks for listening, and take care out there. You listened all the way to the end. We appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Ear for Fear Podcast, Twitter at Ear for Fear, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ear for Fear Podcast. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There we list news and events. We're available on all the main platforms, so make sure you tell a friend. We hope you come back and get an earful.